Hello, my name's Jade, and today I'm joined with Chrissy. Megan's also here
To the side.
Say hi.
Hi.
And today we're going to be discussing
Wuthering Heights.
Maybe if you two were to both give a book that you like your favourite book or something, so they could know where you're coming from. Or what your typical reading habits are. Okay, do you have a favourite book?
Wuthering Heights.
Really?
Probably, yeah.
Oh! Megan's favourite book is Wuthering Heights.
What? No, I don't know. No,
I did not know that. I know you said that you liked In the Night Circus.
The Night Circus, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my
Night
favourite
Circus.
classic, and then my favourite book is The Night Circus.
Okay. So Megan likes Wuthering Heights and The Night Circus.
Yeah.
What about you? If you say Harry Potter, I swear to God.
You come back to me.
Sorry. There's no one else to go to.
Get Megan to develop upon her answer.
Yeah. If you don't know, I like things like The Fifth Wave and The Darkest Minds. They're probably my faves. I also really like Tifios. Wuthering Heights is okay, I guess. I'm not in love with it or anything.
Yeah. I tend to go for anything in the fantasy genre
Yeah.
of any kind.
TMI. She likes TMI.
Plus Austen's work. Because I'm a nerd.
You're not a nerd.
I am a nerd.
You're well read.
I'm well read.
This would disagree
That's
with
why I'm
you.
a nerd.
No, you're not a nerd.
Thank you.
That's okay. If you don't know what Wuthering Heights is about, it's about...
Kathy and Heathcliff.
Yes.
People would like you to believe it's about their love story, but it's so
Don't
much
listen
more
to
than that.
It is a love story. It would be cast as a romance novel. However, don't go expecting your typical...
There's more levels to it than in a romance novel.
Yeah, I agree with that. It all starts off with Heathcliff being brought to the family. He's kind of an outcast, and then he and Kathy kind of develop feelings for one another. Well, okay, so the thing is, right, it's narrated by this dude called Lockwood. Now, Lockwood is an idiot.
No one likes Lockwood.
No one cares about him. He
He guides you through the
purpose.
story.
That's-
You enter the story as Lockwood.
I remember before reading somewhere that there was two narrators. It's Lockwood and then through Lockwood Nellie, and I was like, what? But it is. Nellie's telling Lockwood the story of their pasts, more or less, what happened, how everything came to be. Lockwood's just there sometimes.
Lockwood's there.
He's not there often enough to care.
No.
He doesn't do anything.
Nellie's the one who knows what she's talking about. She knows Kathy, she knows Heathcliff, she knows the Lintons and the Earnshaws. She's there.
She is there. She's the bomb.com. Wins, yeah. I mean,
Sure.
it takes place in the moors, so lots of relevancy.
In terms of literature students, pathetic fallacy
Yes.
throughout.
Yes.
Expect it.
Yes. What is pathetic fallacy for those who do not know?
Pathetic fallacy is
Using the weather to describe the atmosphere, kind of.
feelings, motions, characters.
Yes. For
It gives you an
instance,
idea.
It was a dark and stormy night. That sets up it's gonna be something spooky.
It was a
and-
lovely hot summer's day.
Yeah.
It's going to be a happy tale.
Those kinds of things.
It was set on the moors, so you can tell how lovely this story is
Lots
going
of-
to be.
Yeah, rugged nature. Nature is very important
It
to
is.
Emily Bronte
And her characters.
and her characters. I would recommend it if you haven't read it, unless you don't care about being spoiled, but yeah, more or less go away. Yeah, I would recommend reading it before this because I always would tell you everything that happens. However, if you're confused or whatever and you would like some guidance, we are here for you.
Or if you don't mind being spoiled
Yeah.
and you just want to know what the book is about, free take the plunge. Which
Yeah, I can
is
imagine
fine.
literature students wanting to know what happens before they go on.
And join.
Yeah, because the year 12s this year that are reading it currently have apparently been complaining about it a lot and saying that it's difficult.
Which, at first, that might be the case.
Yeah, I feel like
but
that's-
you can get into it easily.
Everyone's initial reactions. I feel like once you get past that and you get used to it, you're fine. You just need to get over it, more or less.
Do you have a comment?
Yeah, how did you find it?
Well, I started it and I was terrified because of the language.
Right.
But then after Lockwood went, I was
Yeah.
fine.
Lockwood just confuses it because as a character he's confused at what he's entered, who these people are.
He knows nothing of the situation, so he gets everything wrong. It's kind of like a Shakespeare type thing, whereas once you've read it and once you understand it, it's pretty easy to pick apart. Would you agree?
Definitely.
It's
Comparing
just-
it to Shakespeare sounds more daunting than it is, but
I like Shakespeare. Spoiler warning now, we're going to get into it.
Yeah.
Read if you have not read it. Would you like to show the beautiful editions? This is our friend's Megan's. It's got vampire, it's got Edward Cullen on the back.
it does. Look at that.
Is he not just beautiful?
That is supposed to be Heathcliff, not Edward, just in case
No, it is
you were
supposed to be
confused.
Edward.
Plot
Spoiler.
twist.
Spoiler.
Mine's all like gross where I've like taken it school time, but I love how like pretty and blue it is.
It's pretty in blue.
Thank you. Do you want to go through the family tree, because I feel like this is what gives most people grief. This is what gave me grief originally, like what are these humans?
You have two main families, the Earnshaws
Oh, I forgot their last name.
and the Lintons,
Yes.
both of which are quite well off socially.
Well, as well off as you can be in the moors.
Yeah.
In
They have money,
the
they
middle
have
of nowhere.
an education.
Yeah. It's only these two families around for miles as well, you have to remember. One lives in Thrushcross Grange,
The Lintons.
and the other lives in Wuthering Heights. And these are the
Earnshaws.
only two. There's a mile in between them, so they're not exactly close, but for like miles and miles, there's nothing else around.
And on top of these two, you have Heathcliff, who
Yes.
is adopted into the Earnshaw family.
Should I be the Lintons?
Yeah. Heathcliff is adopted into the Earnshaw family because
The Earnshaw father was a very kind man, and so he saw him alone, desperate. He was like a gypsy or something, and he felt pity, and so he took him home so he could live.
with his two children, Hindley
And
and Catherine. Catherine the First.
Catherine the First, as she shall not be known henceforth.
Catherine and Heathcliff are the ones who the love story set around. Catherine's brother Hindley is not like Heathcliff because their father showed Heathcliff more love than he
Well,
showed
not
to him.
love, necessarily more attention.
More attention because he was brought into their family.
Yeah.
But Cathy and Heathcliff they grew up together as friends, best friends. They were very similar in their personalities.
Yeah.
They're both wild children, would you say?
Yeah, she's very masculine.
Definitely. She's not your stereotypical woman of
No.
the
Damsel
Victorian
in distress, no.
Not
She
at
definitely
all.
challenges the social context.
The only time where you really see her, well, weak at the start is where she breaks her leg,
Oh,
like
yeah.
Thrushcross Grange.
Gets bit by the dog.
And during this experience, she meets the Lintons.
The Lintons. So we have the adults, but no one really cares about the parents in this book. We have the kids, Isabella and Edgar. Okay, Edgar, this is what caused me distress, is known as Linton. Later on, we meet a character called Linton. Edgar. Just call him Edgar. It will save your life, trust me. In the book he's called Linton. Call him Edgar.
Because Catherine marries Edgar,
Edgar.
and they have a daughter called Cathy. Cathy Linton. Who, because Catherine Earnshaw has married Edgar Linton, is also called Catherine Linton.
Yeah. Catherine is the first one, Cathy is the second one. This is the general way they're
Yeah.
distinguished. We know them as Catherine the First and Catherine the Second.
And then, whilst this is going on, Heathcliff marries Isabel Linton whilst he is still in love with,
Out of revenge and spite.
out of revenge,
To spite Catherine.
because Catherine,
Catherine the First!
all because Catherine married Edgar instead of him.
We'll get into that later.
We
There's
shall.
good
There's
reasoning.
gossip there.
Yeah.
Heathcliff and Izzy, once they're married, they end up having a son called
Linton.
Linton Heathcliff.
Of course. Why not? Linton Heathcliff.
So you've got Heathcliff, Edgar Linton, Linton Heathcliff. Hindley, Catherine's brother, he has a son called Hareton.
They all begin with H.
Hareton, Cathy the second,
Linton.
and Linton Heathcliff
our
are cousins. Cathy the second then goes on to marry Linton Heathcliff. So after Linton Heathcliff dies, Catherine's left widowed Catherine Heathcliff.
Practically everyone else is dead by this point as well.
By this point, many other characters are dead.
I mean, Catherine the First dies halfway through.
Yeah. Eventually, she goes on to marry Hareton.
Happy ever after. So we have Cathy the First, who starts off as Cathy Earnshaw, and then she turns into Linton. And then we have Cathy Linton, who then goes back to Earnshaw.
Who goes to Heathcliff then, Earnshaw.
Yeah. Good. Well done, Chrissy.
That was
Very
revision
well
for
done.
me.
So there's not that many characters, like if you think about it, we stay with our bunch that lives in these two houses. Chronological order is also kind of all over the place. It starts at the end. Because we start with Lockwood. We start with him arriving at the Heights / the Grange, and then we hear Nellie's side of the story and we go back to the beginning.
With Nellie, she takes us back in time, so we understand what has happened up until the point that Lockwood arrives.
Yeah, and then we have the random halfway point where he's like, I'm cold, I'm dying.
Yeah, throughout all this, Lockwood's got a cold. It's Nellie's bedtime story.
No. So what about the whole Catherine Heathcliff love story dilemma? Does anyone actually ship them together?
Yeah.
At the start.
Yeah?
I did.
At the start.
Yeah.
At the start I did. Did we all like Heathcliff at the start?
Yeah.
I felt sorry for him.
Yeah. I felt sorry for him. And like he would try to be better, wouldn't he?
Heathcliff suppressing.
Saved Harton at one point because Heathcliff Hindley chucked him over the...
Hindley was
Remember
a
that?
bad dad.
He was
He's
a
a
bad
terrible
dad.
person.
Everyone hates him. But then as it goes on, you almost... Because you hate... I don't know about you guys, I'm speaking for myself. I hated Heathcliff so much I was almost rooting for Hindley.
What?
Later on,
Yeah,
when
later
Hindley
on.
becomes a drunk, and
When
Heathcliff...
Heathcliff takes over the
Yeah, but
everything.
think about what happened to it.
I know, it makes sense. But I hated Heathcliff that
I'm
much.
annoyed at him for when he overheard Catherine in that one scene through the window, and he didn't stay to hear the rest of the conversation because that's what
Did
caused
that
the
actually
whole
happen?
understanding.
Catherine
Yeah.
was declaring her
I
love
just remember that in the
for
movie.
him.
Oh, yes.
And he
I'm
left before
Eternal
she-
Rocks, that one.
Yeah.
That scene,
If he
you're
would
gonna
have
love
stayed,
it.
he would have understood, and they would have probably
Yeah.
lived together.
Catherine had to decide between her love for Heathcliff and the social status she would have gained
Yeah.
with Linton. Edgar Linton.
Reading it the
Yeah.
first time, I think most of us were really mad at Catherine. I remember our friend, do you remember Tasha?
I remember.
She was
Yeah.
really mad with Catherine, and she was like in love with Heathcliff.
The thing is, with the whole Edgar Heathcliff debate, I thought that Edgar, although he's a really, really nice guy, he's quite one-dimensional.
I remember hating Catherine, and then we learnt about it in class, the reasons why she did it, and I was like, oh, well that's alright then, I'll let her off. Because the whole social woman thing. Women is a strong theme, and it's going to come up again. Women get nothing, men get everything.
It will come up throughout
If
any topic.
you ever have to write an essay on Wuthering Heights, it'll be in there somewhere. It's not in there, you can put it in there. You can.
Anything can link back to the struggle of the female character. Especially seeing as Catherine, compared up to many, many literature heroines,
Yeah.
she was strong, she's able, up
But she
until a point.
still has to conform to the social needs. She still has
Definitely.
to marry for money, because if she were to marry Heathcliff, there'd be beggars on the street. So she has to marry someone that's well off. I mean, I feel sorry for all of them in that situation. But
Yeah.
it's society's fault. Like, it's the same thing over and over. No one ever learns. Where would you fall on the argument of it being a love story? Personally, I remember she died halfway through, and so I was like, well, how
Yeah.
can this be a love story? She's barely in it.
I would say that it's got elements of being a love story, but it's more gothic novel / character development of Heathcliff.
Interesting.
That's what I would think.
So you
That's
think-
my opinion.
Not like a coming of age, but like more so Heathcliff's story.
Yeah, even though he's not a narrator and that he goes for parts of it,
I would
the main story focuses on
agree that he is the main
His.
character. It's his story more than anyone's, which is interesting because I remember when I first started reading it, I thought it'd be Catherine the First's. I thought it'd be her story.
I think it is a love story,
Mhm.
but I think it's like it explores like dynamics within a family over the years. It's a lot about obviously it's a gothic novel, so a lot of nature and stuff like is there things that interfere with the story that are actually there and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. Gothic love, and I think a lot of it as well is challenging
Yeah.
society and
It's
challenging.
social commentary.
definitely.
Like it got a big reaction. I think
Yeah.
that's what she wanted.
See, I always say that I prefer Emily to Charlotte. I've never read Jane Eyre, so I can't say that, but I prefer her in terms of her balls. I
Yeah.
appreciate what she did, and like for her to have written this at that time and gotten the reaction she did, but stand by it, I think.
Even her
Courage.
sister went against her.
Exactly.
one
Like
point.
even Charlotte disagreed, for crying out loud.
She thought it was too much.
She wrote it in the preface after Emily died. She wrote in one of the prefaces that she doesn't think this should be allowed.
Sisterly love.
I know, right? Oh my god, if my sister said that about me, I'd come back from the dead and haunt her.
And at the end as well, when it's suggested that Heathcliff and Cathy are united in death and wander the moors, it could think that it's happening, it's real, there's ghosts in existence, or, as is suggested, it's what the characters want to believe, or that they've read about it as Lockwood did and then had a dream, a nightmare about it.
What's that word? The love that transcends death. There's a word, isn't there? Begins with M or something.
Metaphysical.
Metaphysical. She's very smart, Emily Bronte. She knows what she's
Definitely.
doing. Does anyone have any particular parts that stand out to them or something they want to discuss?
Probably in chapter 3 with the ghosts. And then Heathcliff coming in. And Heathcliff, obviously, the woman who he loves has been dead for quite a while by the time Lockwood gets there. He hears that this man's had a nightmare about a woman called Cathy trying to come in through the window. And once he thinks that he's alone, he breaks down and you can see raw emotion. And that makes you feel quite bad for him, I think.
I did the first time. I did the first time, but, okay. I think it was the part where he kidnapped Cathy II. That from then on, he was unredeemable in my eyes. You don't do that. You don't kidnap people and force them to marry your son. Because you want... Why did he do it? Because he wanted their estate.
He
and wanted their money.
Thrushcross Grange.
Oh! And he went away and he came back this demon child. Well, he wasn't a child anymore, but he came back this demon human.
Yeah, but you could argue that Cathy drove him to it. I mean...
That she couldn't help it.
Yeah. It depends if you're Team Heathcliff, Team Cathy.
I'm Team Cathy. What about you? Choose wisely.
I'm about 50-50.
I think in general, we were talking about this earlier as well.
Yeah.
Everyone you love in the beginning, you'll come to hate. And everyone you hate, you'll come to love.
Catherine II and Hareton, at the start, couldn't stand them. They were arrogant, they were rude, they were just vile people.
Yeah.
End of the story. You see them as the most tragic people you have ever met.
Those were my favourites in the end. I was so happy
they
for them.
get the happy ending they deserve.
Yeah, because they've been so wronged by the world, more or less.
And mainly Heathcliff drove it to him. To back up her point about him being evil and demon child.
I feel like maybe this is why it's so wronged as well. Society is what drove... I don't want to say society, but I can't think of any other way to... expectations
Social
is what
expectations.
drove Heathcliff, because it was that whole sucky situation. No, I know he was driven to it, but that doesn't make it okay to, didn't he try and kill people, and he was really abusive to everyone?
He was
and he was just really
abusive,
vile.
he was corrupt by situation.
He killed Hindley, didn't he? Wasn't there that whole fiasco about they got into a fight or something? Heathcliff is a woman.
It was that he's got the same... His social status was the same.
Oh, he was disrespected in the fashion. He was so degraded because of his gypsiness.
He was foreign looking in some way.
In his strong feeling, these can be perceived as being a woman, affectionate.
Yeah, because
overly emotional.
Yeah. I see him as quite masculine because he gets quite aggressive and quite angry, and he does have, in the end at least, the power status of...
He definitely gains power throughout.
Every book we've read for Lit, there's one scene that we always come back to.
Yeah.
Basically, she's going about how, he's always on my mind. Whatever he saw, his mind is made of the same. And there's the comparison between Linton and Heathcliff, whereas Linton, it's a simile, Linton with woods. I remember thinking that, because woods can be cut down, whereas Heathcliff, there's a metaphor about eternal rocks, and they're going to be there forever.
He's the eternal rocks beneath. He is the solid in her existence. She knows that their love will remain. He's a part of her soul.
Looking back on it, I do feel bad for Cathy at this part. She was clearly in love with Heathcliff. I'm glad that she made the decision she did, because in the end, I think that's the decision I would have made at least.
Yeah, but it's a decision that kills her. Ultimately, it could be argued.
Yeah.
She dies of broken heart or something.
Yeah. But I guess that, again, it comes back to society's expectations. And if that didn't happen, they could have all lived happily ever after.
Not that we're society bashing at
No.
all.
It's hard because it's the context. It's the fact that women lack power. I feel like it's the class system.
She could live without him, he couldn't cope without her. And
Could
the
it be
irony...
argued that Heathcliff loves her more than she loves him then?
Well, no, because she expected him to stay and wait around.
Did you say that part 1 parallels part 2? But I can't remember what part 2 is.
Catherine dies at the end of part 1 and Heathcliff ends at the end of part 2.
Part 1 parallels with part 2 in many ways, including...
Well, they both start with Lockwood, and they both end with either Catherine dying or Heathcliff dying.
As well as this, many of the characters are paralleled throughout the both parts.
Yeah.
What with, in part 1, the Hindley-Heathcliff dynamic being that, well, horrible, vile man who is repressing Heathcliff to the point where Heathcliff's like lower class, he can't...
He's a woman.
Fast forward to part 2, and Heathcliff's in charge of Wuthering Heights, and it's actually Hindley's son Hareton who Heathcliff can now suppress, who he's putting down, who he's not educated. Heathcliff, of course, loves Catherine Earnshaw within part 1, but in part 2 you have Catherine Linton, Cathy the Second, who Hareton actually loves, but...
And Linton. There's a love triangle. There's two love triangles.
Part 1, Heathcliff, Catherine Earnshaw,
Edgar.
Linton. Part 2 is Hareton, Catherine Linton, and Linton Heathcliff. Only, unlike the Edgar, Heathcliff, Catherine love triangle, they have a happy ending. Whereas the first lot don't. It ends in death and despair.
But you could say that's a parallel where one ends happy, the other ends sad. Like they balance each other out.
Juxtaposed.
Yes, juxtaposition.
They juxtapose each other.
We also came up with the theory that it's him. Like before, I don't know if you remember, but we kept banging on about how it's all society and society's fault. And if there wasn't the whole power dynamic and there wasn't the class system, and there wasn't the whole women's situation, everything would have been fine.
We've re-evaluated this. Alternative to this, if you need a different argument, you can put the blame on Hindley.
We came to the
Earnshaw.
conclusion. Originally, we were arguing that it could be seen as Catherine's fault because she's the one that pushed him away. If Hindley had never treated Heathcliff the way that he did, if he never suppressed him, if he let him go to school, if he never abused him, basically, in the way that he did, Heathcliff would have been a respected individual because the dad allowed Heathcliff to be a respected individual.
Mr. Earnshaw wanted Heathcliff to be brought up alongside Catherine and Hindley as one of his own, but he died prematurely, leaving
Hindley in charge. Had Hindley not had that influence on Heathcliff, he would have not had the need to overpower everyone such as he did. He would not had Catherine wouldn't have been the only one that accepted him, as he would not feel the need to put himself above Hindley. If you look at it, at the beginning we have Hindley and we have Heathcliff, and the parallel being as the novel goes on,
their power dynamics.
They go to the other end. And so, although it's not parallel in this sense, as in they meet each other, it's the parallel in the sense that it balances itself out in the end.
Oh, no.
What I do at the end of all of my book reviews is I like to think of a song to pair to the book.
Wuthering Heights.
You're not allowed to choose that one.
By Kate Bush.
No.
With the dance.
No. I mean, you could always go, Love Story by Taylor Swift.
Strings by Thingy. What's his face?
Wuthering Heights by Kate Bush. Go listen to it. It's an experience. Her dancing.
Please watch the original music video.
It's
I think
something
it was
else. Does anyone have any favourite characters or any favourite quotes they want to share?
Hareton. That is not the
Is that your
quote,
favourite
that's my
character?
character.
Hareton. Yeah, I agree.
Just because he's so tragic, but he gets his happiness.
Yeah.
And because I feel bad from hating him at first.
Mhm. I mean, he was horrible. It was Hindley's fault. It was Hindley's fault.
It was Hindley's fault.
Everything's Hindley's fault.
Megan liked Edgar Linton.
Yeah. We were talking about is there any redeemable characters in Edgar? He's the one redeemable character. He didn't do anything wrong. He was just there kind of and got caught up in it. Poor Edgar.
Poor dude.
Oh, that's another point. The Moors are their own entity in its own. They're their own character. The way Emily writes about them, they have their own feelings and they have their own influences on the characters. They are a very important part. That is all we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wuthering morning, afternoon, evening / night. My name's Jade. Thank you to my guests, Chrissy and Megan.
Away from the side.
Away from the side. I hope I see you again next time. Bye!
Does he look like Edward Cullen?
I don't know.
Sorry.
This is a gothic novel, Christina. God.
Edward Cullen.
Mind, is that Kathy, the original, on the front, I assume?
It don't look like anyone, does it really? It looks like a bend.
It looks like Gollum.
Let's do it.
Female version. Hello!
Oh, that's the right who just choked. He just thinks like he's embarrassed you or something.
Do a shout out to Ollie.
Shout out to this, I dedicate this video to Ollie.
Ollie and his sanity. And this is set on a moor, so you can. The
On a
moors were
One more.
On a moor.
fully recovered from this. Hasn't got his girl. He wasn't
Hasn't
treated
got
right.
his girl.
He hasn't got his girl. He hasn't.
Oh my god,
Terms of the kid.
I feel we're being on this side. I don't
Go on
like
that
it.
side.
I don't like it.
There we are.
There we go.
Because of all this, he has this urge to take and take and take, but it does nothing.
Hamilton song.
Oh. No.
But he gains nothing. When he's owner of Wuthering Heights, when he's owner of Thrushcross Grange, because
He's never satisfied.
No.
That's also a Hamilton song. Oh my god, it all links to Hamilton, guys.
Twilight's the
He
Prince.
was alive then,
Sure.
wasn't he? He was alive during...
Was he?
Oh yeah, because he's a vampire, right? He's
But I don't know if he's that old.
He's 100 or so.
18, yeah, but this is 1800s. He's like, oh, I guess so. Maybe.
Maybe. That's a debate for another time.